Welcome to the Flights of the Round Table podcast, broadcasting from the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. And now, here are your hosts, Dan, Drew, Daniel, and Florian.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are the Flights of the Round Table podcast, and we have a world champion in the house tonight. Elizabeth Laseter, thanks for joining us.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
It's very, very cool for us to have you on because you're actually our first female guest that
Really?
we've had.
Yep. Wow, it's an honor.
Long overdue.
It is definitely long overdue. Elizabeth, is the grass always greener on the other side?
Depends on what color the grass is.
So it's fall and it's brown grass. May not be the color you want.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, cool. Yeah, like Dan said, we're the Flights of the Round Table. It's going to be episode 78. We're going to dive into this thing called the beer mile, okay? Mm-hmm. So Elizabeth is the world champion of the beer mile. And a lot of people probably don't know what that is, how that's ran. So Elizabeth, can you explain to us what the beer mile is?
I can, sure. So the beer mile is, the simplest way to put it, is 4 beers, 4 laps around a 400-meter track. And your primary goal is to drink the beer as fast as you can and run as fast as you can. And there's a couple of rules involved with it. You can't throw up, first of all. They add a penalty lap. You also have to have...
Woof.
Yeah.
So you pretty much lose if you throw up once.
You pretty much lose because that's going to add so much time. Like,
Yeah.
you're done. And then the beer has to be at least 5% ABV. So you can't use PBR, you can't use Bud White. It's got to be so it's got to be something that's at least 5%. And then on top of that, you have to have no more than 4 ounces left behind because that's an automatic DQ.
Wow.
So there's a lot of rules that go along with it.
So where in the placement of the mile are these beers consumed?
So before every lap starts, there's a 9-meter chug zone is what they call it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a great zone to be in right there.
Yeah, so you run the lap, you stop, your beer is like on a table. Usually you pick it up, it's in the can or the bottle, and you have to finish it within that zone. Otherwise, that's also an automatic DQ, which is actually what happened to me in the 2022 Beer Mile World Championships because I stepped outside the chug zone. But
How big is the chug zone?
Yeah, like how big?
how big? It's 9 meters.
9 meters.
So,
Okay, so you can walk a little in it?
Yeah. So the key is you finish your lap, you pick up the beer, you open it, and then I kind of do like a brisk walk to like the very end of the zone, so I'm not wasting any steps. And then you finish your beer, put it in a little basket or bin, and then you start your next lap.
Has anyone ever like passed out in that like the chug zone just from being exhausted, or have you seen that at all?
No, I have not. I mean, I hope that never happens, honestly. But in my experience, no, we're professionals here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should be training for that, right?
Yeah.
Paint me a picture, because for me, I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm not versed on the metric system. So what's 9 meters? How many yards is that?
It's 3 feet, almost a meter.
Yeah. So what
okay.
I will do, like in practice,
That's a decent zone.
yeah, it's pretty large. But what I'll do in practice, because like
You could run a
I'm not-
4-3 in it, yeah.
Yeah, 4-3 zone. Yeah, okay.
But like I'll show up to a track to practice on, and like I don't have a measuring tape or whatever, so I'll just do like I'll use my feet as like a form of measurement. So do like so 9 times 3, 27. So I'll just do like 27 like lengths of my feet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of feet. Does anybody have like a weird strategy where they just get the beer right at the front and just stand there and chug it that way that they can sprint that whole distance instead of walk?
I've never seen that, but you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
So where are you practicing? Are you practicing with other people that are doing this like event as well, or are you practicing by yourself?
I'm usually practicing by myself because unsurprisingly, it's kind of hard to find people who want to do this just in the middle of the week. So
Yeah.
typically it's a solo. Yeah. But I typically to practice, I would find a track that's decently secluded because, public drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And yeah, you just go through the motions and try to recreate it as much as you can.
Now you said 4 ounces can be left.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are they measuring that?
Yeah, how is that measured, and 2, is there some strategy to allow some ounces, or is it too risky?
Yeah, so every time you finish your beer, it's collected and it's poured in. Like every person
glass.
has like a little measuring cup, and they'll pour it in there after you finish. So it's being measured like throughout the whole race. So they know exactly how much you have. Like,
So it's 4 ounces total.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
that's what I was
4.
going to say. So it's 4, like, for, wow.
The whole.
Yeah, it's not
wow.
4 ounces per stop of beer.
Oh no, it's 4 ounces. Yeah, 4 ounces total.
Yeah, that's what I was
So-
thinking was per
But
stop.
there's one guy actually who I think it's Chris Robertson. Maybe I think this might be his technique, but he will literally leave like every time he does it, he'll have like 3.9. Like he knows exactly when to stop drinking so that he doesn't have to finish the whole beer, so he can maximize like how much time he's spending drinking.
No way.
So 4 ounces. So you're only drinking a fourth of the beer.
Oh,
Wait.
well,
I'm
No.
wait,
confused.
no, it's yeah. So it's
So she's saying that
4 ounces
combine the
total.
4 beers together.
You only
the
have
total
4
leftover
ounces.
liquid has to be 4 ounces or less.
Yeah, yeah. So if you
Oh,
took all 4
gotcha,
beers and you
gotcha.
pour them into a measuring cup, you could not have more than 4 ounces
Of,
total.
like liquid left.
So
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
this. We're shotgunning beers, right? And we finish our shotgun, right? But if we're all being real here, we tip it upside down. You're gonna have a few drops
foam.
left over,
Some
right?
foam action.
true.
Yeah,
Between
yeah.
all 4 beers or however many you do in that thing, of 4 laps, right? So then you can only have a collective 4 ounces
Right.
of residue or whatever you want to call it.
Understood.
What are some other interesting rules that you talked about, the chug zone, 4 ounces. What are some other interesting rules that the beer mile has?
There is one that kind of caught me off guard the first time I found it. So you have to show up before. This is only for like championship, like elite type races, but you have to show up with 6 beers instead of 4 because you only need 4 during the race. But they ask you to show up with 6 beers because apparently one year somebody like tampered with the beers and like opened them like prematurely. These were bottles, I think. So just kind of let some of the air out, I think, so it would be easier to chug them. So to prevent cheating, I guess they ask you to show up with like a whole 6-pack just so they can inspect them or
So
whatever.
the organizers, what I hear there, are making sure they get 2 free beers from everybody.
Exactly.
It's an administrative
Yeah,
tax.
but see, what I found is like every year some sort of crazy shit happens and they have to like amend the rules so that it doesn't happen
Yeah,
again.
people always trying to take advantage.
It's a young
of stuff.
sport. It's a young sport, right?
It is. Now, so is there like a pro league for this?
I wouldn't call it a pro league, but unofficially, there's just kind of a group of like internationally based beer milers who come to kind of the premier event every year, which is the Beer Mile World Classic. And this past year, we had people from as far away as Australia.
Really?
Yeah, England, Norway, Sweden, Germany. A lot of European countries.
Wow. So
How did
for the beer mile, though, do you see the Saudis buying up all the best players and hosting their own league?
Offering
Not-
$100 million
not yet.
contracts.
Hey, you better
You
be
never
in,
know.
You better be in there.
You never know.
Don't take anything cheap.
How did it like get, you just laid out all those countries? How did this become so big? Like, how did the beer mile become so big to where all like countries are involved with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's owed to the guys who have been putting it on for so long. I mean, it started in Canada, actually. I don't know if it started, but I guess the idea of this event being like a bigger thing than just like something people do, like, just for fun. But anyway, it started in Canada. It was like a group of guys who, and women too, who just like to run and drink beer. And they did it a lot. And they were like, let's put some official rules behind it. And so they did, and it got bigger and bigger, and then it kind of caught on, and I think a couple guys were like, they had this vision, let's make this as big as possible, and I think some of them maybe had some connections. I don't really know how it evolved, but yeah, then it just kind of morphed into like, oh, like this is bigger outside of just Canada. Like other countries like to drink and chug and run and chug beer, so let's make this into an international event.
Yeah.
Anything with a sport and drinking beer, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like you could translate this in a lot of ways. I mean, there is a beer Olympics, and then there's running in the Olympics.
It
So
should be together
put
there.
them together,
I really think that
Absolutely.
should be in the beer Olympics if it's not.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, we have Elizabeth Laseter, the world champion for the beer mile here. Now, you said for the beer, you get to pick what you bring.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you usually showing up to the track with?
So I will pick Bud Light Platinum. I believe it's
Okay.
6%, so it's a little bit higher than the
limit.
The minimum requirement of 5%. But the reason I choose that is because it comes in a bottle, which is, some people will say that it's easier to chug beer out of a bottle than a can. I think that's just maybe. Yeah,
I was wondering if there was a strategy towards can, or because like honestly, like if I'm allowed to show up with cans and I can like shotgun those shits, I'm gonna do that. You know,
you cannot shotgun. I should have said that as one of the interesting rules. You cannot shotgun a beer.
Yeah,
That's an automatic DQ.
I think a bottle, you have the way that you can tilt it, the beer will go run out faster. You could probably test that by not even doing it like in your mouth and just seeing which one finishes first.
That's exactly, it definitely is a lot easier to chug just because of the way it comes out. But the other thing about it is that it's a twist off bottle on Bud Light Platinum, so
you're saving milliseconds.
Yeah, that's important when you don't have time to use a bottle opener and open
do
a beer.
people run with like a bottle opener like attached to them, and so it's quick access?
Yeah, how does that work?
I've never seen this in action, but the current world record holder for men, Corey Belmore from Canada, he apparently runs with a bottle opener and will open his beer before every lap, which blows my mind. I don't know how he does that.
Wow. I have another question. What do most runners use for their beer?
Yeah, what's the
are they all using Platinums like you, or do they have their own thing too?
It just depends on if they're following like the official rules, but I see a lot of everything.
Four Loko, just
no. I don't know. Yeah, like Coors Banquet, I've seen that one a lot. Bud Light,
old school.
Yeah, Bud Light Platinum, of course, people will use that. But I did a beer mile one time with a guy who decided to use like a 7% IPA.
I was about to ask you, has anybody said, you know what, I'm going to do an IPA?
Yeah, and when he was like all in, like so enthusiastic about it, and this guy was absolutely wasted at the end. So
I was going to ask if you get wasted at the end.
It's like what? Like
that's think about if you and I chug four regular Bud Lights in 7 minutes.
I'd be running in a freaking snake pattern.
That's crazy.
Well, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes for it to fully hit you. But like when it does, it's actually like the best drunk ever because you're like amped up because you've got the endorphins from just having run, and you're also just drunk, so you're ready to party.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, watch out, boss.
What's the best
record that
from a beer standpoint for you guys? Would you say it's better to drink like icy cold beer, or like you specifically, icy cold beer, or more so of a room temperature lukewarm beer?
You definitely don't want it cold, like ice cold.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's a formula to throw up like instantly, and I almost have when I've done that. But
I'll keep that in mind next time I drink potion.
Okay.
But I would say
Master Drew.
But you don't want it too warm either because warm beer is just gross. So there's that. But I'd say somewhere in between. I think there's a lot of like logistics that go into it. So you have to weigh like how hot is it outside? Like if it's 100 degrees, you don't want to have your beer out for that long because it's going to heat up really quickly. But I don't know if it's like 70 degrees, like maybe have it out for like 20 minutes. You just have to kind of figure out like what's the optimum time to have it out so that it's just that right temperature. I like mine a little bit colder maybe than most people, but everybody kind of has like what they like. So, but you definitely don't want it one extreme.
It sounds like there's such a ton of tiny little factors that if money was an exposable resource, you could really hire like some top engineers and scientists to
like a training
cater
staff.
a formula for you to get the fastest mile.
Yeah,
I believe that.
You definitely could.
It's like NBA players. They have coaches that practice, tweak their jump shot, and NFL coaches that are tweaking their elbow on their throw for the quarterbacks, right? So it's just the right amount of velocity. Now, I bet you there's a coach in your respective sport that's just like, listen, if you tilt this thing at a 45-degree angle and let the sun hit it just right, that thing's going to go down smooth.
Turn to the northeast pole. Yeah.
I need a chug coach because that's always been my weak spot.
Yeah.
It's not my strong suit.
Wow.
Put that on Indeed right there as a job opening, chug coach. That'd be awesome.
A lot of applicants from like Germany.
Yeah, exactly. You get Heinrich over here. It's like, yeah, we're gonna help you.
So speaking of that, though, to get the fastest mile, what is the world record for official world record, woman or man?
So for men, Corey Belmore, think it is 428.
That is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And he's
insane.
stopping to drink the beer too.
Oh yeah, but if you watch him, like
That's insane.
he literally just tilts his head up, puts the beer down in probably like 5 to 7 seconds, and he's off. And he's fast outside of beer miling. Like he's a legit, like very, very talented runner.
Does he do other like actual like big competitions outside of the beer drinking?
Yeah. No, I think he's sponsored by Adidas. Like he's like a very legit runner in Canada.
See, now this is an interesting question here. Are people like in the beer mile community afraid that it's going to be infiltrated by more pro runners that just learn how to chug? Like, because what if like the world record and
That's
the
a great
Olympics
question.
holder like for the mile came and just learned how to chug? I mean, they'd easily win the race. I feel like, or am I off kilter there?
I disagree, but I guess you have to really learn how to chug. But
Right.
those people that are just I feel like that's a different type of I feel like she's special here that she can really drink and run. That's a special ability to do both.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's
I've never
that's
done
exactly.
it. There's something to that, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's an equalizer in the way that you could be really, really fast, but if you can't keep the beer down, then if you can't run fast with a full stomach, then you're not going to be able to do it. So,
What would you say the typical, not typical, but maybe average amount of times practicing the beer mile to get it down without like harm and actually posting a decent score?
it takes a lot of practice. That's for sure. I mean, I can't even count how many beer miles I've done. I've been doing them since 2007.
Holy shit.
What year are we in? 2023. Yeah. So I've done a lot.
That's a lot of miles.
It's a lot. But I think you just have to do it enough times so that you know every single scenario that could go or anything that could go wrong, and you just have to be mentally and physically prepared for it. And there's a lot of prep that goes into it too. Like I know that I can't go and eat a burrito and do a beer mile 2 hours later. I'm gonna throw up. So
What about a vegan burrito?
Have you thrown?
And that says it all.
Have you thrown up like after when practicing and stuff like that, or you never had that issue?
I've never thrown up and gotten DQ'd, or not DQ'd, had to do a penalty lap in an official beer mile. But
Penalty lap. Is that they just add an additional lap on after you throw up? Or?
Yeah. So they don't DQ you, which is nice. But
That's pretty cool.
But I've definitely thrown up in my mouth a couple times,
Practicing?
but in practice.
And you just kick it back?
You just
Down the
like
hatch.
you like kind of just
Swallow
you
it.
force it back down, and you're just like, oh,
It's kind of acidic.
it's not pleasant.
I've done that a few
Hey,
times.
but for the win.
You can't show anyone. You're like,
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like I would do some sort of move where if I had a little bit in my mouth, I'd be like, put it in my hand and just run with my hand. I'll run it with in my hand until I'll
Just
throw
shove it in your pocket.
As soon as I hit the finish line, I'll be like, oh,
I had a friend that did that in front of a police officer. Actually,
I'll do that all day.
I'm sure he ended up with a legal infraction.
no, he did not. Actually, he caught it and he literally he got away. He put it in his hand. He did the thing. He did
Yeah,
Wow.
oh, dude, I mean, as much as my hand can take, I'll just put it in here and just, no one's
it
looking.
out.
You're like, shit.
Do you think there should be more publicity with the beer mile? Because you just said that the guy who holds the record, he's sponsored by specific brands. You don't see, I feel like a lot of publicity. Or do you think there should be more around it?
Right, and one other thing. Do you want to be sponsored by
Yeah.
Adidas? Because Adidas, we will, we'll make something happen.
Or
with,
Bud Light? Or Bud Light?
yeah, I think that's. I mean, sure, yeah, of course, like would love it, but I think it's difficult with something like the beer mile because at the end of the day, it is binge drinking. Like we can't sugarcoat that. And it's I can understand it being a bit hard for sponsors to be on board with that. And
True.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that at one point the organizers behind the Beer Mile World Classic did approach Budweiser about a sponsorship, and they were like, no, this is like binge drinking essentially. And I'm like, that's highly ironic because you're like the unofficial frat house beer. So
It's healthy binge drinking. I mean,
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, in terms of like, if there's ever a scenario where you want to mix something in with drinking, it would be running. I mean, like at least you're getting something healthy out of it. You know, like that's the healthiest form of drinking I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
My
Sobering yourself up with every lap, kind of.
Again,
And beer's what, like X% water, so you're kind of rehydrating at the same
Exactly.
time.
my fucking experience with drinking is me and the boys go out back and we're shotgunning like 5 beers back to back to back to back. So, I mean, Budweiser, you should be fucking
jumping on this. You know, I was thinking when you said that, like the calories in versus calories out, it's like you're burning them, but a mile you only burn about 100 calories, and a beer is about 100 calories. So
Depends what
You're
you're
literally
drinking.
Are you telling me you're breaking even?
you're not. You're about 300 plus in that situation. You might want to get on your calorie counter.
You need to talk to the right person about that. You don't
Okay,
know.
but fine. You're telling me you're at a 300 calorie surplus after that? That's not. It's not a lot. I'm just
Jenny
telling
Craig
you
would
that.
not approve. You know.
No, I'm just saying that's a lot of room for error. I see like you have a lot more room to consume calories at the end of the day. You did your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
I think you're convinced to like try it now,
Yeah.
just off that.
Well, I'm just saying it's a good sport.
What's the fastest beer mile you've done?
For me, my personal best is 6 minutes and 3 seconds, and that was at the most recent Beer Mile World Championships.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
6 minutes.
You almost got into the 5s there. You wanted the 5s a little bit, right?
That was my goal. I wanted to break 6. I was close, but
That's so close. Like 4 seconds. 4 seconds.
yeah.
don't rub it in, Dan.
I think my sober mile was like 11 minutes.
And actually, I think I would have broken 6, but it was my second beer. Yeah, I was coming around after the first lap, and I knocked my third beer off the table.
Oh.
And it fell on the ground. I kept going because I was like, what am I going to do? And the people, like some of the officials, like picked it up, put it back on the table. So when I came around for my third beer and I opened it, it just exploded, like foam everywhere in my face. So that was, if you've ever tried to drink a foamy beer, that's impossible. So
Oh, yeah.
Does the foam count towards the ounces that you're allowed to?
I feel like it's real foamed up.
That's a good
Probably
question.
does go
Well,
down to
eventually
water
the foam,
or
yeah,
beer.
it does.
Right? It
Yeah.
will come back down to liquid.
definitely
so like,
made it more difficult to drink it. And I was fighting back, puking in my mouth. But so that did slow me down a bit. But that's okay. Next time.
Now, you've heard the term like superfoods, like avocados, blueberries, yada yada. Do you think those should count as PEDs in the sport?
I mean, maybe if you created some sort of beer infused with superfoods,
Ooh.
and it was at least 5%.
Superfoods beer.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking like an
Ooh.
avocado blueberry
Yeah.
kimchi ale,
5%.
just full of
If I-
probiotics and antioxidants.
If I ever saw something like that on the shelf, I'd write a personal letter to that brewery.
I'd be
saying,
into that.
Please never put that out.
Yeah.
Hey, she would drink it.
Yeah, you know what? I think I would drink that. Just for
I
just
would
to say
too.
I did.
I would too. Guys, I was thinking about a question I was driving today too, and I wanted to bring it up, kind of off topic. But so in the United States, the legal age to get a license is 16. At what age would you start to be concerned if the government made this certain age like allowable to like apply for a license?
Oh, you're saying like what age you think would be concerned at?
Yeah. Like if they're saying like you can get 8-year-olds can apply for a license.
Oh, I'd be
Where is
concerned
your
about
break?
that, Yeah.
So I think like if they said you could do it at like 12 years old,
I was gonna say 12.
because realistically, if your parents are with you a lot during that time, so you're not going to be able to sneak out driving. 12-year-olds, parents leave you alone for a couple hours. I snuck out and picked Florian up when I didn't have a license. So, if that happens, you got, young guys who
I didn't
can't
even
even
know
see
that.
over the steering. No, it was Paula. Who can't even see over the steering wheel
That I know.
driving. I get a little worried.
I mean, what grade are you in at age 12?
Like fifth?
I swear you need a formula for this.
No.
14,
Seventh?
I was in 9th grade.
I'm
or
just trying
15.
to imagine
Yeah,
my
so
maturity
seventh
level when I
grade.
was 12, and I don't think it
Seventh
was
grade.
high.
7th grade.
So you would say 12 too? You would say 13 is allowable for a license?
I don't know. I mean, what is it? I think I got my learner's permit at 14 and a half in North Carolina,
Yeah.
which is
That's
that's really young.
That's very
That's
young.
That's freaky to imagine myself driving a car at 14 and a half.
It is. I don't know what a 12-year-old would even do. It's like, hey, I'm going out to get some Taco Bell, 4th meal.
Yeah,
You know.
to your point, you said when you're 12 with your parents a lot. Well, if you have a car, I don't think you're going to be with your parents a lot. You're just going to get the fuck out of there,
You're I think 13, honestly. It's a little too young for me in 12.
Could you imagine all of a sudden we see some report tomorrow changing the driver's license age to such and such.
You guys would be like, you're a time traveler.
Okay, controversial, maybe not. I don't know, but I think 16 is like perfect. I think that's like the lowest you should be.
I agree. I think 16 is
I agree.
good.
It's like a maturity, practicality situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I didn't get my license until I was 18. I'm pretty sure it was like 17, like almost 18. That's when I got my license. Like I got my permit really late, and I didn't get my license until like either beginning of senior year of high school or like end of junior year. So like I was right there.
So on
And I wasn't ready, honestly. I did some stupid shit.
on the flip side of that, though, you said that's fine being the driving age. Drinking age being 21. I don't think that's the right age.
It's
Yeah.
total bullshit.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's bullshit.
definitely
Because
bullshit.
you're going to college.
You're gonna be drinking an.
You're not
18
lying.
either way.
You tell me, oh, I never had a single beer in college.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
I mean, what law's broken more, the speed limit or drinking age? You know, it's like right up there with it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So you're arguing that it should be lower. It should be like 18, 16.
Yeah, like
I think
'cause-
it's 19 in Canada, which every other country they don't even care. You can just go and drink whatever,
Yeah.
any age.
You can reach if you can look and look over the bar. You're drinking.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I had a beer with my dad at like 16.
Like at the dinner table or something.
Yeah, like at the dinner table. And I
yeah,
know you
that's-
did too.
Yeah. So
So European. We started drinking at like 12. Okay.
Yeah. So my family's from Germany, and I when I was 14, I went there with we did like a family trip, right? And we visited my mom's like best friend, and she had a son that was like a year or two older than me, and then she had another son that was like a year or two younger than me. Anyway, I got invited to like the oldest son was in high school at the time, so he was like, I think I was 14, maybe 13 or something like that, and he was 16.
Yeah.
And the drinking age for beer in Germany is 16. You can be 16 years old and you can drink beer, right? Spirits, wine, I think you have to be 18 or something like that, right?
Sure.
So, like, I got invited to a party and I was so scared, right? Because, like, one, like, my German wasn't really that good. Like, it was kind of like a chore. And two, like, I'm hanging out with older kids and I know I'm going to be drinking it. They're going to be like, I had that classic scenario in my head, like, they're going to make fun of me, like, oh, don't be such a wimp, drink this beer. But they were actually really cool, but I made it a bigger deal in my head than what it actually was. I remember I was slamming back vodka Red Bulls like it was no one's business. It ended up being a crazy night. I was up all night, meaning I didn't get a single wink of sleep. It was like they threw a party with all the kids in high school, and they lived in this like little village where like the high school was like 500 kids deep. Like that's it. Like our high school was like 3,000. It was like think about it, it's a fraction. And like I would say like 200 kids were there from their high school. Like it was out in the field. They had picnic benches. They had a DJ and everything, and they had a bartender. And I was just slamming back vodka Red Bulls. All I remember from that night, because I got pretty drunk, I'm not going to lie,
Sounds like it.
was there was one guy, it was like in the fields and there was hills and stuff. One guy got so drunk, he rolled down a hill and rolled into the bonfire and caught on fire. It was like, whoa!
That's the best part of the night, right
Yeah,
there.
it was crazy. But so like my first real experience with alcohol was at 13 or 14. I can't remember how old I was, but I was like somewhere around there.
Florian, a wee lad.
Yeah.
Speaking of cocktails, vodka and Red Bull, what would be your favorite cocktail? Your go-to cocktail that you're ordering?
Oh, definitely an old fashioned.
What kind of
That's
bourbon?
good.
You've got a lot of class.
Yeah, what kind of
Oh,
bourbon?
thank you. No, I don't know. Maybe I don't have that much class because I don't even know what type of bourbon I would like, but something good. I mean, maybe, I don't know,
Well, Pappy Van Winkle.
bullet bourbon or Pappy's
Ooh,
like,
Bullet's good.
Pappy's
really
expensive.
yeah.
They're giving away a poppy at Southern.
I'm not going to lie.
If you
Whenever I
sink a
go
pot.
out and I have an old fashioned, I just get a house bourbon.
That's usually what I say. I'm just like,
I'll get a house.
it'll
After
be
the first
fine.
two, they all taste the same.
Yeah, that's so true.
But like the big ice cube. You want the big ice cube?
yeah.
Yeah, circle or square?
Ooh,
It actually makes a big difference.
I have to go with circle.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I
don't
like
know
the
why.
square. I like
I have a mold in the freezer, perfect sphere of ice, like perfect. It's amazing. Old fashions never tasted better with it.
I have one with a golf ball. I'm not sure if Dan, did you give me that one?
I might have.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I got you a couple gifts.
So getting back here on the beer mile,
Yeah,
how
beer
does
mile.
it feel, like personally, to be the world champion of such a cool event? I mean,
It feels great. Yeah, I mean, it's for me actually. It's more redemption because last year at the Beer Mile World Classic, I got DQ'd for stepping outside of the chug zone, and that was like a huge disappointment because I would have won and I would have broken the world record back then. So my goal was.
What was your time on the DQ one?
It was 6:15.
Okay.
So.
But you got it down this year in 2023 to 6:04.
6:03.
6:03.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I lowered it by quite a lot.
So go into a little more detail about that. You said the chug zone is about 27 feet, the width, obviously, of the track field, and the length of 27 feet. What were you doing? Like, what was happening in that situation?
Yeah, so it was the last lap of the race, and I was on my last beer. Yeah, and when you're drinking a beer, you're not looking at the ground, you're looking at the sky, like you're looking up, like because you're drinking.
chugging.
Yeah. And so I didn't see the wine and I stepped over it. But the controversial part of it was they always have these little bins or baskets that you are supposed to put your beer into when you're finished. And normally those are like on the end of the line. But for whatever reason, these were beyond the line. So that meant you had to finish your beer and then like take a step out of the chug zone and then put your beer in that bin. So that's a lot to have to think about when you're literally just trying not to puke, but run fast.
So if
Is there a rule about that now, though?
There is, and it is unofficially dubbed the Laseter rule because of what happened.
You have a rule named after you.
Yes, it's an honor, I guess. But yeah, so that was such a disappointment. I was just determined not to let that happen this year.
So
what was the hardest part about that disqualification for you? What was the hardest part?
I would say just it's something. I mean, it's like any race that a competitive athlete does. Like you put a lot of mental energy into it. You try as hard as possible, and just to have it not go the way you planned is just such a letdown. And also last year the race was in Belgium, so we all traveled a long way, and you want to make that worth it too. So it was just
Belgium.
like the ultimate womp womp moment.
right.
So they go different places every time?
Yes, yeah. Every year they'll have it somewhere different. I mean, it's been in Germany, it's been in England.
Nice.
It's been in Vancouver, San Francisco. They want to do it in Australia, maybe in the next couple of years, which would be awesome.
I would vote for the North Pole. How cool
North
would that
Pole.
be? Yeah. To really change the game up.
You'd have to figure out a way to keep your beer at the right temperature. 'Cause it'd be cold.
Just freezes, you go to it, and it's like nothing comes out.
The Christmas mile.
That'd be the longest beer mile.
Yeah. So back to the disqualification, though. I think that's interesting, and you're kind of saying that it's controversial because, yeah, you stepped over the line, but they also did something that was illegal, and they're not taking accountability for it.
Well, that was the controversial part for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they decided to amend the rules so that wouldn't happen again. And yeah, I mean, those bins were exactly where they were supposed to be this past year. So
Good.
Yeah, that helped.
Good.
I would have made sure if I were you. Listen, if they're not there, I'm not even going to participate.
Yeah, no, I made sure. I checked.
That's awesome.
What's your training regimen like? Like how you talked about how you train. Like, is there like a specific way you do it, or is it along the lines of go find a track in a secluded area, run, drink the beers, and go from there? How do you train?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like just recreate the beer mile as much as you can, just so you know. I think I said this before, but you know exactly everything to expect, because so many things can go wrong in a beer mile. So for me, I tried to do a beer mile like at least like once every 2 weeks, kind of in the months like leading up to the race. And that would just entail finding a track and just doing a beer mile. But for me, I was able to use like non-alcoholic beer instead of, real beer, because, you get the whole experience just without the buzz, which, can be useful if you're doing it on like a random Wednesday night or just whenever. So
lunch break.
Yeah.
Hey boss,
Yeah,
going out to the track. See you in a few.
Yeah, no, it worked out, but I think it's just to recreate it as much as possible so that when you actually go and do it, it feels like pretty natural.
Do you have any like pre-race rituals? Like,
I mean, you warm up for it like you would like any race. I mean, I also do like non-beer mile races outside of beer miles, so I would just do like a typical warm up that I would do like before any race. Like you run 2 miles,
Sure.
do a couple stretches, like stuff like that. But I mean, the other prep that goes into it, I mean, you want to make sure you're eating like the right way and during the day. And that's like, you eat like very bland foods, like oatmeal, like lots of bananas, like peanut butter sandwiches, stuff like that. Like nothing that's going to like mess with your stomach. And yeah, so you want to stay like super hydrated. So it's just all the basics that you would factor in if you were running like an actual race.
So are you just like preloading on liquid IVs before the race, and then like so you have that hydration just stockpiled up, and then you're slamming back 5% or 6% or more. I mean, I'm serious.
It's a lot.
The hangovers I get from beer are ridiculous. So I can only imagine your head is killing you the next day unless you're loading up on liquid IV.
I mean, yeah, it's not great. It's definitely like you're definitely hungover, but you're
That's right. 4 and 6 minutes. That's insane.
4 and 6 minutes. That's a real quick hangover.
That's a lot
but
of
it's
beers.
like, but you feel like you earned that
drunk.
or not you earned it. It's
You
like
earned it.
No, it's like well worth it. Like I did something hard, and it was gonna happen regardless. So I accept it.
There's more to it. So how fast can you actually chug a beer?
I think my average in a beer mile is around like it's in the range of like 12 to 15 seconds.
That's insane. Well,
One beer? 15?
for one beer.
From a bottle, think about it. Like when you're shotgunning a can, that's different. But when you're just, can you do the tornado method? The thing
Yeah,
where
do
you
that
spin it and then it like cyclones
She's like,
in?
no.
I've never tried that.
You should try that.
I could try that. I could definitely try that.
Dude, that would shave off like a second or two off
2
your
or
time.
3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't think there's anything in the rules against that.
You should do that.
Yeah.
Unless you lose the liquid, but
They'll call it the Laseter method.
No, I feel like you would consume more liquid than you would before because it's just a spiral. I mean, once the spiral
It
ends,
comes
there's
out
no
fast.
liquid left
so
in
is
there.
there a judge watch? Because you said 4
Yeah.
ounces in the bottle or can. Is there someone watching to make sure those ounces aren't coming out of the mouth?
Oh yeah. I mean, it is very closely officiated. I mean, they want to make this as official, legit as possible. So
So you have-
you can't get away with
You
anything.
have a ref right here next to your face, like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And if
See,
you
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean-
there's got to be a personal space situation here. Like, back away,
well,
buddy.
if you watch the video from the year I got disqualified, the ref is like actually screaming in my face, like don't step outside of the zone. Like he's yelling at me, like he's not that far away from me, and I don't even hear him because I'm you're focused and
Yeah,
but
crowd.
but he's maybe like 4 feet away from me, just screaming at me. But so it's official.
Wow, if I had someone scream at me like that, even if I was like locked in like you and just focusing on chugging the beer, I think subconsciously, like as I'm leaving the zone ready to run the next lap, I'd throw him a bird. Fuck off. I heard every word.
How do you keep your composure throughout all of it? You say you're drinking, you get a buzz sometimes. How do you keep your composure?
That's not always easy. So if you watch the video from this past year, after the race, I had to do like a short little interview, and it was one of the most uncomfortable, difficult interviews I've ever done because it was in front of the whole event, and the guy was asking me like, "How do you feel?" And I'm like, "I'm about to fucking puke." Like, and you can see the look on my face. I'm like I'm wincing, which is it's to be expected, but you just have to hold whatever puke is inside of you and get through it. But I managed to say a couple of intelligent sounding words, and then immediately afterwards I ran behind a car and just puked my brains out.
Oh,
There you go.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
So would you consider yourself like a chug master? I mean, you pull out your 10 best friends. Would you say you can chug faster than they can?
Probably, but I wouldn't say I'm the world's best chugger. I think the secret formula is being able to run fast, like while having a stomach full of beer, and
Yes.
also just
That's what I was
being
gonna
like,
say.
you don't have to be a great chugger. You can be a pretty good chugger, but my technique is absolute shit. If you watch it, like it doesn't make any sense.
Would you be willing to demonstrate that technique against Dan over here for the podcast?
Do you have a bottle?
We
that I
have a
could-
couple bottles.
I see. We came prepared.
We would really think that'd be cool if
Yeah.
you would show the audience how a
Okay, you got
world
a bottle?
champion.
No, I don't have a bottle
okay.
opener.
This might not be my best performance, but I will.
Hey.
I will give it a shot.
If I lose, I'm just gonna walk away. I will not.
I feel like it's gonna be
Dude,
it's gonna be
so-
It's pretty good temperature too. It's not too cold.
Hey,
Should we stand?
The X factors are in her favor. I like that.
Let her decide.
Yeah. Should we stand?
Candace, if they stand, will the cameras get their faces?
No.
No.
Well, you heard it.
We can, yeah.
Yeah,
This will be
sit.
the first beer I've ever chugged sitting down. So
Wow.
Okay. Hey, I like that as a good preface. Okay,
look.
it's a good preface.
So we picked Dan for a reason. You're lucky you don't have to go against me or Florian. So
Honestly, you would be lucky if you went against me. I can't do that for sitting down. I'm not gonna lie.
reverse psychology.
But I'm not sure he can either.
I'm not quite sure either.
All right. I guess how do they say it in the race? Is it gunshot or
it's runner, set, chug.
All right.
Do the honors.
runners set chug?
Yeah.
Like runner, set, and then everybody gets ready. And then,
then
chug.
chug.
There we go. Runners set chug. Oh,
yeah.
it's close.
Oh,
It's a close
no,
race.
it's not close at all. It's not close at all.
And Elizabeth.
Close at all. It's not close at all.
Great! Wow!
Wow.
Oh my god.
No, I can smell that.
Hey, how much did we
Corona.
leave behind? I think
Yeah,
we
no, that's even.
Dan left way more.
I don't know.
Dan left way more. Look at hers compared to that.
Good. and she literally broke them into segments too. You were doing
we
a
might wanna mess her
consistent chug.
You did.
Oh yeah, he's failing. He's failing.
No, that was pretty good.
That was fun.
That's only
That was
for
fun.
one, though.
I
That's only
kind
for
of
one.
liked how you did like your first initial one was like half the bottle.
I didn't
and
even
then you
see
did a
it.
couple.
I wish I could have seen it. Candace, we'll have a video of that.
Yeah,
It took
I
me a
guess.
second to like understand what was happening, but once my brain registered,
Yeah, locked in.
it was good.
Wow, it was like a flip of a switch. Just like, okay, I know what's up. Locked in.
And you guys have to do that while running?
Oh yeah, and well, the challenge is being
Dude.
out of breath too.
Dude,
so
I would be.
there's-
Dude, I would throw up at half a mile. I'd throw up. I mean, okay. Well, actually, yeah. No, I take that back. I would run half a mile sober, puke.
Yeah.
Finish the other half mile, chug a beer, throw up before I even start the next mile. That'd be crazy.
That's hilarious.
Uh,
That'd be funny if like out of instinct after you finish that right there, you just took off. Just like, oh, sorry guys,
Oh, wait a
come
minute.
back.
I almost wanted to run after I finished that.
So I have a question. So like the place you're always doing the races at, is it always a track or is it like a marathon situation where you're running through a city?
It's always a track. That's 100% like the preferred like.
It's preferred.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Did they ever do it, like,
the best way to
advantageous?
measure too. I feel like too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it ever like is it indoor, outdoor? Like, what's your preference? Or is it always outdoor?
I would say outdoor. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because people are gonna puke, so you don't want like an indoor facility having lots of.
That's
puke.
true.
Like
Well,
That's gross.
because I was going to say, like, if it was like a marathon situation where, it's still a mile, but it's like, it's not a track, it's like a street or whatever, right? I guess I can still ask the question, like, where would you, I'll phrase it a little bit different, where would you like to go? Like, where would you like to have the beer mile at? What's like a city that you've never been to that you'd like to go and do the beer mile at?
that's an interesting question. It's
Because it seems like you
how would
travel a lot, so.
Yeah, I mean,
It does sound like
if it didn't have to, if it wasn't totally dependent on it being on a track, I don't know. I would say somewhere with like a dramatic, like setting.
Around the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah,
Oh,
or
that'd
like
be cool.
Wow.
that could be interesting. Yeah.
Chugging beers in that heat would be crazy. Oh, yeah.
There's a park around like the Eiffel Tower that could be kind of cool in Paris.
I've never been.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. What about like Tokyo or something? Just running, like doing a mile through Tokyo. That'd be
Oh, at
crazy.
nighttime?
That'd be cool.
nighttime, just fucking neon lights and.
Is it normally done during the day, or do you guys like sometimes at night, or does it depend?
It doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it probably most often happens at night just because it's, a little more discreet. And a lot of times when it happens, it's like under the radar, like, you're trying not to draw too much attention to yourselves. But I think you can do a beer mile any time of day, in theory.
I do want to bring up something, and I don't think we have yet, and this is something I've heard, is you had a little issue with doping that was going around in the
Yeah, it's a good point, Daniel. Just to preface what you're saying,
Yep.
we read somewhere that you were an active voice in getting a runner in your division expelled from the women's competition because she was serving a 4-year ban for doping. What led you to be such an advocate for that decision?
Yeah. So just to add a little more context.
Yeah,
so
sure,
this was an Olympian. An Olympian who was currently serving, as you said, like a 4-year ban for performance enhancing drugs. And she, as the women in my race, we found out a couple weeks before the race, she was going to be competing in our race. And we were like, we don't feel comfortable having an athlete who is currently serving, a doping ban competing alongside of us. And according to, her, like the official kind of terms of her ban, like she was not violating any terms of those bans by competing at the beer mile, but it was more just like respecting the spirit of her ban.
Yeah.
And because we take this race seriously and we're here to compete, like we wanted it to be fair, and it just did not feel right to have someone currently serving, a doping ban competing alongside of us.
Yeah, honestly, fair enough.
I agree.
I mean, it's a respect thing for
Yeah.
the game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she's going to get. It's almost like she's like, okay, she's not going against her thing, but she's going to go and compete in something so she can like win something, and it doesn't seem right.
Right.
What was the reaction like within the community for you guys doing that? Like the beer mile community.
It was definitely, I would say it was split. I mean, there were people who were kind of like, oh, cool, yeah, like let's shake it up and let's bring in someone like that. But then there was also outrage, which was my reaction, like being like, this is totally unfair. Like, this is not a fair event when you have somebody who has literally taken drugs to make themselves faster, competing alongside all of us.
I mean,
I'm not a professional runner. I have no incentive to take performance enhancing drugs. So, let's keep it fair.
Yeah, it's a little messed up.
It is.
I got a question for you.
Do you?
In terms of what came first, I'm not sure. It could be one, could be the other. Was your experience with beer the first thing that came up, or were you like a track star your whole life, like growing up? Did you run track like early on, like middle school, high school?
So I ran track and field in college.
Nice.
And in terms of where the beer mile fits into that, so for us, the beer mile was kind of an end of season, end of year celebration after, the last meet of the year. And we would all do what we called, a beer meet. And the beer mile was actually just one part of it. There were other events involved. And there were things like the 4x40. I don't know if you've ever had a 40.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty horrible thing.
Not officially, but I know my 40 times.
Is that
terrible.
a 40-ounce tomahawk or a 40-ounce beer?
Oh, it's one of those like, I don't know what it just comes in that like glass.
Yeah.
So
I gotcha.
Anyway.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a 40-yard dash.
I was too, actually. I really did.
Never mind.
Florian.
No,
I was too, actually.
You're saying you have to run that after you drink a 40-ounce beer.
Well, it's 4 people. It's like each person like run/walks like 100 meters, and they have to drink as much of the 40 as you can.
Oh.
And then you hand it off to the next person, and they have to drink it. So if you're the last person, you can really get screwed because you might have a little bit of it left, or you might have most of it left.
Yeah.
So
it depends on your team, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had that. We had the vodka shuttle run, which was, I never did that one. That one really freaked me out.
Vodka shuttle run.
Yeah. My understanding, I didn't really pay much attention to it, but my understanding was you had to take a shot of vodka and then run like a certain distance, take another shot of vodka, run back, take another shot.
It's like suicides.
Yeah, I don't know what that one really scared me, so I didn't do that one. And then there was the beer mile, and then the final event was the naked 4x4.
The naked 4x4.
Yes, and it was
Self-explanatory.
So there were different rules for guys and girls. The guys had to be totally naked. The women just had to be topless. So.
Well, kind of an unfair advantage in my opinion, but I'm just saying. Okay.
I don't disagree.
Not in your
I don't
favor.
disagree, but those were the rules. So.
Yeah.
There's things flying in both situations.
Right. Yeah.
There definitely is.
It's crazy. You would never like. I'd never heard that from it. I have people I know that did track. Never have heard that.
Well, I went to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, so maybe we were just a little bit crazy for whatever reason.
What'd you get your degree in?
Creative writing.
That's cool.
Not your typical Hopkins education.
Are you using that professionally these days?
Yeah, in an indirect way.
Okay.
I love that.
What do you? If you had to guess what each of us did for a living
Yeah.
outside of this, What would you guess?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
I
we're
like that.
just go off of first physical appearance. You know, not knowing any background whatsoever.
People shit on us all the time on the internet, so there's nothing you can say that'll hurt us.
Also true. Also true.
Yep.
How about tech?
No,
Does anyone work in tech?
Nobody's in tech.
No one's in tech here.
no one's in tech.
one's in tech.
No.
Financial shit.
You got one.
Yeah,
I got one.
he's the financier.
Alright.
of
I'm
the-
a partner at an insurance company.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
technically
So good
finance.
guess. Okay, 1 for 2. Yeah.
What else we got here? What other careers could one have?
Think of the big ones because you'll get one of ours here. You think of the big ones.
Sales, marketing.
Well, some of us do a little bit of sales. Some of us do a little bit of marketing. But, not quite.
Not quite.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Okay. Well, he works. He's a manager at vegetable oil.
I'm an engineer.
He's an engineer.
engineer, of course.
Engineer by trade. But I mean, the head honcho of a huge facility, a huge plant.
And they run a painting company.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, we don't paint. We run a pool service company, pool maintenance and repair company. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they perform at the Uptown Cabaret Friday nights, 8 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen.
No, we don't anymore.
they're
They just got
wrecking that.
Yeah, I was about to
It's
say
done.
it's done.
I know, isn't that crazy?
There's a
So
giant
we're not
hole in
there
it.
anymore. Okay.
Wait, it's
I live like a block from it, and there's a big hole in the side of it.
what do you think
way.
they're turning that into?
apartment complexes.
Apartment complex.
They are.
You can't
Huge
tell me
high rise.
the demolitioners on the job didn't find something sketchy when that
Underneath
rubble
the-
went down.
Hey,
you
I was
know?
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Something was hidden underneath there. I hope some cash was found. Gosh.
I bet you was in ones.
Yeah,
I'll
like
tell you
a
that.
She
loose
was in
deposit
ones.
of $1 bills, you know?
What's been your craziest story that you've experienced in the
Ever
with the
in
beer
life.
mile?
Like
Oh.
ever.
Yeah.
Let's do ever.
Ever.
Ever in life,
Ever.
craziest thing you could tell us that you saw, story.
Oh God. Okay.
On the spot.
That's hard. Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stories.
We like
think-
a good one.
I
It's
think-
a good one. Good story.
One that comes to mind is I temporarily worked at Subway
Ooh.
Okay.
as in college. So I had been out, I had a night out, like as all college students do.
Sure.
And I like the popular place to get like a late night sandwich was Subway in Baltimore. And so I went to Subway and went in line to order my sandwich, and just for some reason thought it'd be a great idea to ask the guy, hey, can I work behind the counter and make some sandwiches? And he was like, yeah, let's go. Come on, come back. And so I went behind the counter, and he gave me his shirt, he gave me his gloves, and
No way.
and his hat. And so I was like behind the line, like making sandwiches like for like 30 minutes, and it was great. And he was like coaching me through it. He was like, oh yeah, someone ordered like the chicken parm sub, so you got to make it like this.
Got you.
Bearing in mind, I was like semi blacked out at the time, but like
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
You're a very functional blackout.
well, I later went on to culinary school, so I think that might have been like a precursor.
So did
but
you get paid at the end of the night? Like, where's your wage? There's labor laws, you know.
Culinary school.
Yeah.
Do you have
sadly,
to fill out a W-2?
I don't believe so, but there's some great photos of it somewhere on Facebook.
Why culinary school?
I was always interested in food. I love food. I was a creative writing major in college, and I wanted to combine the two things and be a food writer. So figured going to culinary school was the best way to learn about food in a way that you can't really. It's an experience you can't get any other way. So
Yeah.
just wanted to work with food.
I love cooking. I cook for the boys all the time. A couple weeks ago, I made a tikka masala pizza with like a cilantro cream on top. Would you eat that?
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
It was amazing.
It was
I
good.
was
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I must have not gotten the invite. I must have been out of town.
No, you actually did. You didn't reply to the group chat. I said, hey, making dinner and watching fights tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go check that.
that sounds great.
I had to stay away from you guys for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? Burgers. Big fan of burgers?
I love burgers.
If you could take off, I'm going to give you 3 ingredients. So you got cheese, ketchup, and lettuce. Which of those 3 are you taking off?
Ooh.
That's a good one. That's a great question.
Oh God, you really tripped me up here.
I'm tripped up, and it wasn't even asked to me.
Back to the food.
I think the ketchup, only because I don't trust anyone to put the right amount of ketchup on the burger. So I would say take it off and I'll have it on the side and maybe just dip my burger in it or something. But I think having too much ketchup on a burger is just like, it's like.
Let me guess. You want
Yeah.
3.9 ounces of ketchup on your burger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Embrace the lifestyle.
But yeah, I would say the ketchup.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd probably take the lettuce off.
Well,
For me,
that's true. Yeah.
like if some
Because shitty lettuce is horrible.
Oh, exactly.
It's gotta be crisp.
Like
yeah.
if you've been, I know everyone has been at this. You go to like a cookout, or you go to like a family reunion or a gathering. There's always that one person that overcooks the burger. Always, and you have to douse your burger in ketchup to even make it taste good and put on a good.
Yeah, it's like rehydrates the beef, you know? So it's like seeps in there.
I like the lettuce more than the ketchup. I'm not a big ketchup person. I actually don't even put ketchup on my burger unless it's already on there when it comes that way.
It's a good point. So if we're building a burger as a team right here, and it's just we've got bun and burger, could we all agree that cheese is the first thing we're putting on there? Is that?
But it's got to be
The
sharp.
first
It's got to
thing
be
before
sharp
beef.
white cheddar.
I say, what type
No.
of cheese?
Beef.
Yeah. What kind of cheese?
Ooh, what type of cheese?
Sharp white cheddar.
Oh yes, I love white cheddar.
Any type of cheddar is fine.
Any cheddar. Yeah, cheddar it up.
Pepper jack is
No.
good because of the
Nope.
kick.
I do
Nope.
not like pepper
I
jack.
don't
You don't
either.
like spicy?
I
Yeah.
like spicy, but I don't think spicy and cheese have any
Drew?
business with each other.
I agree
Go
with
to
this
hell.
a
Get your
lot.
pepper jack
Yeah.
out of
Pepper
here.
jack has never been a good cheese.
It doesn't make
You
sense.
know what?
I
need to
think
use
sharp white cheddar is the move.
It is.
That's the cheese.
very specific. What about a nice brie? Perhaps gorgonzola. Sprinkle a little goat cheese on
I
there.
like all of those though.
Yeah, you lost us with pepper jack. Get on out of here.
Jesus, I mean,
Gorgonzola? What the heck?
The beer mile. There's people that do the Krispy Kreme, like whatever the Krispy Kreme mile.
Krispy Kreme challenge.
Krispy Kreme challenge, where they eat the Krispy Kreme run a mile. Which one do you think is harder?
Ooh, that's a good question.
The Krispy Kreme challenge.
so you've tried it.
No, I just have to assume I have to imagine it's harder.
Yeah, true. When you're good at something, you know.
Well, 'cause it's-
Is it a dozen? I've done a
think
dozen.
so.
I've done a dozen.
Oh,
I've watched you eat a dozen. It was disgusting.
I felt disgusting, but you know what? I love
For
it.
leisure, you ate a dozen.
Yes.
I was a fat ass back in
We
college.
walked
fat ass.
I will always remember this. We walked to the Krispy Kreme at our. He asked me to come meet him, like the Krispy Kreme person. That's the hot and ready sign. I went
Only when it's hot and ready.
We
Let me
sat-
clarify. Only when it's hot and ready.
We sat
So that,
there.
it's like Batman, but donuts.
Yeah, we sat there, and I got like one donut because after like one donut, you feel just real bad about yourself. I'm watching Daniel just get himself a dozen. And he's just gone. He's just talking to me. Just
you did
and,
that?
and then all of a sudden, the box was empty. I went.
So if you were as big as you like made that sound out to be, what was your nickname then? 'Cause,
Well, I was Big Belly Dan.
I knew there was one there.
I was Big Belly Dan.
BBD?
That was, yeah, people
Big
call
Belly
me that.
Dan?
I was Big Belly Dan.
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
a lot
but
of
that's not
reasons,
even
though,
a fair
but-
comp. Because, like, if you think about the calories and carb output between 4 beers and a dozen donuts, it's not even a comparison, right?
So I would say one Krispy Kreme donut is probably not much more calories than a single light beer.
That's what I'm saying. Even if it matches 1 for 1,
Well, so if you look
that's
at
3 times more donuts.
Bud Light Platinum, actually has a lower amount of carbs for a beer than I've seen other beers. So you have to kind of weigh that also into the equation. But I still think donuts, like it's just like taking up more space in your stomach.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, and you have to drink at least a milk with a dozen donuts, so that's gonna
Well,
expand.
that's what you do. That's what you have to do. No one else has to do that. You have to do that.
Plants like water, like Daniel likes milk.
Dude, this guy,
Oh, yeah.
he
Like-
consumes more dairy than, I don't
An
know.
there
Amish
actually is a
freighter.
chocolate milk mile, so you could be
Ooh.
the next,
All right,
next
Elizabeth,
contender.
we have a dozen donuts for both you and I. Let's see who can finish them first.
I'm out.
Oh, man.
If they're not hot though, I can tell you what, I could only finish half the box because the way that they're hot, I
Helps
can
it go down.
Well, yeah, but I
Yeah.
can squish them up and like fit them in like my mouth, almost like one bite, almost.
That's fair logic. Imagine eating
Yeah.
cold rice versus hot rice.
exactly
Very
Yeah.
hard.
Exactly.
Yeah. Elizabeth, one thing we do for all our guests we told you we've been going to breweries and then we switched it up. The last 10 episodes we've been trying to interview unique guests. We have a little game. It's called Shot or Hot. You ever heard of Malort? Liquor?
I don't think so.
It's this very interesting flavor of liquor. And then hot refers to a little hot sauce. So one of us will do it with you, but either take a small shot of Malort or a little dab of hot sauce. And we call it Shot or Hot.
How hot is the hot sauce?
It's pretty hot.
It's pretty hot.
It's plump.
It's hot.
It's pretty hot. We're gonna be honest to you. It's pretty hot.
Florian will do it with
It's not
you.
as hot. You're not gonna die, but you're gonna feel it in your mouth. You're not
So
gonna die.
I have to choose whether I do the shot or the hot sauce.
It's a small. We'll make it very small. Whichever
I think I
you
take the
choose.
shot every time, but
Good. So I don't
see.
have to do the hot sauce.
If you've never tried this, it's the most interesting, but disgusting flavor of all time.
It kind of sucks because usually I have to do that now when people say the shot. Or,
No, someone has to do it with her.
Yeah,
She's doing it.
It's either Daniel or Drew.
it's usually me, so I'll just do it because it's usually me.
We'll just give you a little bit.
Yeah, I got to drive home.
Since you chugged a beer for us, we'll be easy on you.
it was a light beer. We're fine.
Oh, so you
She's-
saying you want more?
Yeah, she can.
I mean-
She's used to this. Nah, come on.
Professional opinion.
Don't
you
tap into my competitive side.
Okay.
I'm telling you, this is going to be the nastiest liquor you've ever tried.
Can I smell it?
Yeah, you smell it.
What do you think it smells like?
Yeah.
It doesn't smell that bad, actually. It really doesn't smell.
It does
that
not
bad.
smell that good.
Have you had Malort before?
That's exactly what I would say. It doesn't smell that bad.
On Cheers, you before.
It smells like it's like pine sol, kind of.
I agree with that.
Some people describe it as like rotten grapefruit gasoline.
You're telling me this smells like a detergent? That is disgusting.
Yeah. It is,
Dawn dish soap.
well,
Dawn Draper.
Shot or hot? They picked a shot. Shot it up.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, that face said it all.
Oh, that could have been worse.
But the
Could've been
lingering
worse.
effect.
It lingers.
I don't even need a chaser with that.
Oh. Wow. Hey, no pun intended, but we got a hot shot over here.
Wow. I hate that. It is bitter a little bit for me.
If there's one person,
Oh no, the aftertaste.
yeah, it's the aftertaste that.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
it sits there. It
water.
just sits there. Oh. Most people do. I would say out of the 10 times we've done it, I think 8 people have chosen the shot. The hot sauce is a rarity.
We had one person choose the hot sauce and then walk off because
Yeah.
it was so hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He broke down
You
to
ever
a
heard
really
of the hot ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took it and just walked away.
Yeah.
We were mid podcast. He just walked away.
Walked off the set.
He comes
like,
back.
I'm
He's all
excusing myself.
sweaty and everything.
Yeah, it took him like 10 minutes to get back on the show. He went to his bar too, and like, he's like, guys, I think I'm good.
What's your vision for the beer mile? Like for the future, for you or even kind of the community?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited to see this becoming like a bigger event that more people are watching and coming out to see, and whether they're at the event in person or watching the stream. So I don't know. I love that the one this past year. It wasn't just for the elite beer milers, but it was like the whole community could come out and do a beer mile, and I love that it's inclusive like that. So I think, however we can continue to make it just, a community-based sport where anybody and everybody can come out and just have fun drinking 4 beers as fast as they can.
And I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but just get a barometer here. Do you see this like one day, 15, 20 years down the road being as popular as like, let's say, the hot dog eating contest they do on 4th of July every year?
I mean, that would be cool for sure, because in my head, I don't really see a difference between the two. It's a competitive event that, is people pour every part of them into. Literally, we're sacrificing our bodies for this. But whether you can eat 49 hot dogs. I don't know how much Joey Chestnut ate, but
Overrated.
like 75 glizzies.
holy
Easy.
shit.
Joey
That's insane.
Chestnut is overrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, you are overrated.
A couple of years ago, he headlocked a guy that ran up
It
on
was a
the stage.
protester. He
It was
put him in a
protester.
guillotine.
He did?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
And he
No,
was still
But for me, like I mean that, and like I see this catching on so quick, and it's so cool
Facts.
that like you like got the front end of this. But I would be extremely surprised if, like, in 10 years, like, this isn't like something that 90% of people that have social media don't at least know about.
I know about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see everyone
100%.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be awesome for it to be an Olympic event, but I don't see that because of the alcohol element. But you never know. You never know. So
It could be on ESPN 8 The Ocho.
Yeah. Well, that's a damn shame, honestly, because I'm on it. If I could argue that you have to be more of an athlete to be able to balance fucking running a mile as fast as possible and chugging beers. I'm just saying.
No, what I love is like it is ridiculous in every element, but people like myself take it very, very seriously. So it's it's fun, but it's also competitive but it's also insane.
Since we brought up hot dogs, I got to ask her. They're going to slap me because we've talked about this so much.
Good call.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh my god.
In the purest form of a sandwich, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why?
I agree.
It's just not. It's like when you go to a sandwich restaurant or a sandwich shop, you don't have hot dogs on the menu. And you also when do you have a hot dog? It's like at a cookout. You don't have a sandwich at a cookout.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
She
true.
cracked the code right there.
It's situational.
Yeah, you're right.
But-
She cracked the code.
Okay.
You don't find a hot dog at a sandwich shop. She cracked it.
That's so true.
She did. These are new
was
What
it.
if there's
points.
a, what if there's a
These
kid,
are new
What if
points.
there's a
That
kid
was
today?
it.
Yeah, because
It is,
you
'cause-
can make an argument.
It's
Is
psychology.
tea coffee? It's like, no, you don't find it at a coffee shop.
No, but you usually do find tea at coffee shops.
shit.
That's a whole different situation.
Well, then never mind.
So you screwed yourself right there.
About a year ago, we asked this question. It blew up. I mean, we got like hundreds of negative comments on Instagram for asking this question. And we've been asking a lot of people, and those are some points that no one's ever brought up.
I like
it not
those.
being on a menu. But
Interesting.
my rebuttal to that is, yes, I see what you're saying, but it's a piece of meat between two breads. that
What
come
do most
together.
people say?
Is a hamburger
50-50,
is a hamburger a sandwich then? Because you're saying the same thing between
Yeah,
that.
it's a natural divide. If you were to ask the United States, it would look like an
just
electoral
touched
map. So
Well,
I think it's.
No, you go.
Oh,
ahead.
it's like saying is a tomato a fruit? Is an avocado a fruit? It just depends on the application.
That's true. Well, I've heard people apparently in Europe they call chicken sandwiches. What we think of a chicken sandwich is chicken burgers, right? But we would call that a chicken sandwich. I've never heard someone call it a beef sandwich before, right? It's a fucking hamburger.
It's
true.
Burger?
Yeah, a chicken burger. Yeah, I know. I agree. It's weird, but it's
Nashville hot chicken, overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, it's great, but I think it's been a little bit overdone.
I agree.
Yeah.
The Notebook. Overrated, underrated,
Fuck
properly
the
rated.
Notebook. I fucking hate that movie.
My wife says the same thing.
You could not pay me to watch
What's
that.
the worst
come
part
from?
about it for someone that may not have watched
It's
it?
just so cheesy. It's like Titanic. It's like the stupid.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh my
I
goodness.
can't deal with that shit.
What would be your recommended age group or demographic to watch The Notebook and enjoy it?
13.
So they don't have a license.
You guys know you want to know what's ironic about the Titanic movie? Speaking of that, the opening scene is them getting a drone down near the Titanic, and Karen was like, my wife was watching it, and I went, well, that's kind of ironic, and the thing breaks a little bit. I said, oh well,
A drone?
they have a submarine, they have a submarine that goes down, and they have some drone go inside
in the
of-
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
Titanic.
they
Isn't that
incorporate real footage of the Titanic because it was filmed in the 90s, right? So that's 80, 90 years after the fact.
Foreshadowing.
Right? And they had drone coverage of
I didn't think
the
they had drones back
Titanic.
in the day,
Fast forward 30 years later to 2023, and you got some billionaire CEO and his son and a few other people. And, well, you know how that turned out.
Conspiracy about the Titanic. You should look this up. There's a lot of interesting stuff. The Titanic was not actually the Titanic. They put the name on a different ship that day, and a different ship crashed.
Wow.
Okay, well,
That's all I'll say.
Well, that's a rabbit.
That's a cliffhanger.
That's a rabbit hole I'll dive into.
It is.
Maybe later, maybe never. But whatever.
Whatever.
Well, this has been a great show, Elizabeth.
Fantastic show, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to ask us or anything anybody else has before we hop on out of here?
I do have a question for you because I'm starting to go to the gym a little bit more, and I've never been great at running. Let's just say this. Last year, we all did an intramural soccer league, and I had shin splints so bad I couldn't walk for days. And I have a very physical job. So what can I do to get rid of shin splints?
Shin splints they're tough. I mean, it's kind of just a.
You're telling me.
Yeah, it's. I've had them before too, plenty of times, and it just kind of happens if you've like gone from not running a lot to running a lot. So
I went from not running at all to running
and
one time.
I hate to. This is like not the greatest advice, but you just have to like get through them. They'll get better. They'll get better eventually.
Okay, fair enough.
It sucks. It definitely sucks.
Yeah,
You were looking for like a magical potion.
Yeah, I was thinking you were
Lotion up.
I wish I could tell you.
joint.
I was hoping you would prescribe me a pill. Come on, Elizabeth, help me out here.
I wish there was something magical, but no.
Okay,
you
so
just have to suck it up. I hate to say
Okay,
that.
hey, I'm sorry, but
Advil
Because I've had
sometimes.
them too, and they're shit.
I'm going to be doing pulls in a lot of pain the next few weeks, but I'm going to get through it.
But
Yeah,
you
that's fine.
will come out of it stronger and better than ever.
Okay, that's
That's
good.
right. That's right.
Until I take like a 4-week hiatus, and then I'm right back to where I started. Which tends to happen with me a lot. I hit the gym hard for 4 weeks, boom, done.
Boom. Well, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, you enjoy the content you're getting, always, at the end of this, FOTRT podcast, follow us anywhere you're on social media.
Like and
hit the like,
subscribe.
5-star, leave a little review, tell us what you think about the episode. And with that, Dan, take us out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been episode 78 of the Flights of the Round Table podcast. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, wonderful week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.
Pros. Inshallah.